Good morning, everybody. Hang on just a second. So I have several things I wanted to say right off the bat. First of all, thank you guys so much for all those birthday wishes. Oh my gosh, I was blown away. That was so nice. I really appreciate it. All right. The second thing I wanted to tell you too was thank you all of you who have joined the Patreon group. So we're just really getting that started and geared up, and I hope if you haven't joined it, you'll check at the link below and just see what's going on. As I've said before, at the beginner level, we're just going through basic things and having a challenge once a month. It's the second Friday when I give you the challenge, and it's a secret thing, so just you'll be able to see it, and you'll get these little downloads for it so that you can keep them in a binder. And the good thing about these little downloads is I have one of these codes at the bottom of each one or somewhere on each one, and all you have to do is take your phone, if you have the QR reader on your phone, the app, and just highlight that, and it'll take you directly to this specific video in case you need a refresher. So for challenge 2, that was the link. For challenge 3, I actually had 3 different videos, the basic card cut, and so on. So enough of that. Let's get started with today's tutorial. And I don't know if you're a sports fan or not, but March Madness is starting or has started. And so I thought it would be fun to make something for March Madness. Maybe you're not involved in sports or don't really care about them, but maybe you have a grandchild who is into sports or into dancing or something, and you could make a shirt for yourself or for them based on their team. Like if you're the parent, maybe you could call yourself the coach, or if you're the mom, you could say mom and then put your child's number or something like that. Just anything that you can think of. But what I'm going to do is I'm from North Carolina, and I am pulling for the University of North Carolina during this March Madness, UNC. I don't know if you can tell or not because of the sheet still being on there, the carrier sheet, but I've used the Cricut glitter that is just gorgeous. And then the flock, which you know I love the flock because it's so soft and fuzzy. And I'll have links down below for both of those. So let's look at Cricut Design Space and see how I got this going. Okay, let's get rid of this and go up to Design Space. There we go. All right, so if you'll notice this one on the left, I actually like number 2 on North Carolina's team. It's Kobe White. And so that's why I made this shirt over here originally. But then I thought, I don't know if we're really allowed to do that. So I thought, well, rather than do that, I'll just use the colors of Carolina and call myself a Carolina girl. And people can figure out from there what it means. But the thing is, if you have somebody that likes another sport team or another team, you can easily make them a shirt too. Or like I said, for your family, if they, play a sport or something like that, you can support them, grandma number 2 or something that way. So let's look at what I did. Okay, I'm going to start with a totally new project so we can begin from the beginning. And I have it open, and I'm going to come up here to a template, and I'm going to choose my favorite template to use for t-shirts, and that is this one, just called Classic T-Shirt. Click on it. And notice it says they're for reference only and will not be saved as part of my project, and that's fine. I don't need it to be saved. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to text, click on that, and my text, of course, always comes up with the font Cricut Sans. That's not the one I want, so I'm going to click in there. Then I'm going to come over here to where it says search, or there's a little magnifying glass, and I'm going to type in the word extreme, because I know that word is in the font that I want. Now when I type that in, I get several different extreme fonts, but the one I always like to use for these cases is the Little League one. So I'm going to click on that. And now I'm going to come down here and add a little bit of text. So I'm going to type in the word Carolina. Now it doesn't matter if I have my cap lock on or not, because these are all caps, capital letters in this font. Carolina. All right, so I'm going to bring it up here on the shirt, and I want you to pay attention over here on the layers panel. Notice there are 2 layers in this text, but only one is showing up here. That's because one has had its eyeball crossed off, which means it cannot be seen. I'm going to uncross that, and now both layers can be seen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to putz around with the shape size of it. I'm going to unlock this lock because I want to drag it a little bit taller, like that. And now I'm going to put in a number. Let's say the number 17. Text. I'm going to come back to the text tool and type in the number 17. But I typed in A17, 17. And I'm going to drag it up here, make it a little larger. And again, notice we only see one layer. We only see the dark blue layer. I want to change it so that I see both layers. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to type in the word girl. I'm going to come to the text tool again. I'm still using the extreme fonts, Little League text. I'm going to type in the word girl. And bring it up. And once again, I'm going to go over to the layers panel and unhide that other layer. So there we go. All right. Now, if you remember in my first sample, what I did was I had this arced or curved. And the way that you do that is to just come over here to the curve tool and move this little slider as much as you want. Like, I would not want it that much. I kind of like it like that. Carolina 17. I could leave the word girl like this if I want to, or what I can do is I can curve it up. So I think I'll do that. So this made it go down when I went that way. So if I make this little slider go the opposite way, it curves it up. And let's see if I like that. All right, well, so that you can just mess with this until you're satisfied with it. That looks pretty good to me. Now let's see what will happen when I go to make it. All right, so stuff is kind of crazy. Not at all where I'd want it to be, I don't think. And not to mention, it's too large. I only have 12 by 12 mats. So I want to make sure that each one of these isn't too big to fit on one. Now notice up here, the width of this one is 13.989. I'm going to change that to 11.5 because we know that's as big as our machines can make on the 12 by 12 mat. Okay, now that should fit just fine. See if this is any bigger. That's fine. And that is fine. And if I wanted to, I could go ahead and move these letters a little closer together by hitting the letter space. But I definitely don't want them to touch. So that's good. Okay, now let's go and see what happens when we make it. Okay, everything fits on the smaller mats, but I don't like how this fits on there. So I'm going to cancel this. Now, what do you think I need to do to make this work? So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to duplicate all of this. So I'm going to highlight everything and go to duplicate. And I'm going to move this over. And then what I'm going to do on this one here, I might as well do the top ones first. I'm going to grab the gold, hold down my shift key, the gold, hold down my shift key, the gold. Okay, that's getting the wrong stuff. The gold, hold down my shift key, the 1, hold down my shift key still, and it must be this one. Yes, there we go. So I have all 3 of those things selected as I held down my shift key, and I'm going to say weld. So that welded all of the gold stuff together. And now on this one, I'm going to weld all of the blue stuff together. So come over to the layers panel, click on this blue, hold down my shift key, the second blue, keep holding my shift key, and the third one, and then come down to weld. And now what I can actually do is bring this one over here and put it behind, just so we can see how it's going to look, and that's perfect. So now if we go to make it, watch what happens. All right, and this is exactly how we want it to go. All of this on one mat, we can weed it and we can place that down, and then all of this on one mat, we can weed it and put it on top. So let's go back here one more time, and instead of it being these colors, I need to change it to the Carolina colors. So that's easy enough to do. I can just come over here to the layers panel and click on this blue one, and I'm going to make it a pretty blue. And then I'm going to come over here and I'll make this black since I have black flock, and that's what I like to use. So that's what it looks like. And now if we go to make it, again, it's going to be perfectly made. But what I did do for the sample that I showed you in the beginning was I didn't have the 17 in there. So in order to get rid of that, of course, right now, I would have to do a lot of unwelding, not unwelding, undoing, because there is no unweld. Okay, now I could delete this 17 and delete this 17. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to make it, and it's going to do the black first, which is what I want, because the black is going to go on my shirt first, and then I'll wait till it cools because flock is a cold peel, and then I'll put the glitter on top. And yes, you can put glitter on top of flock, but you shouldn't put things on top of glitter because it's so textured, it's hard to have stuff stick. So join me over there at the heat press and I'll show you what happens next. Okay, right now my machine is heating up. I have it set to 320 degrees. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the flock on there, and I'm going to do it for about 10 seconds and then wait for it to get cold because it's a cold peel. And then I will do the glitter at 320 for about 15 seconds. But before I get started, I did want to show you that I'm using this same shirt that I had done before. If you haven't seen where I showed how to put something on a sleeve like this, I'll have that link down below this video. This again was the flock, so it's nice and fuzzy, and it's been washed several times and doing very well. So as you know, the next thing that I need to do is I need to just kind of press this a little bit for about 5 seconds to get the moisture out of it. So I'm just centering it. And I'm going to make it so the collar goes off the edge, so I won't need to use one of my foam pads for this. If the collar goes off the edge, it will be okay. If you don't have something where the collar can go off the edge, you will want to use a foam pad or something like that underneath of it, so that that doesn't block the pressure, the even pressure that your plate can do, whether you're using your EasyPress or one of these machines. So the first thing I'm going to do, as I said, it's almost at 320 degrees. It's at 317. So I'm just going to press this for about 5 seconds. That's good. And now that's been pressed to begin with. And I have this centered right there. And I'd like to just kind of feel it, and I can tell by the feel that it's centered on here. So as I said, the first thing I'm going to do, and it's about, excuse me, I'll do it about 3 fingers away from the top. I'm going to put Carolina about there. And then underneath that, I'm going to put girl. Just like that. And right now I won't need to use a pressing sheet because both of these are covered totally with the carrier sheet. Whoopsie. So I'm just eyeballing it. I could draw lines, or I could use my mats that I sometimes use. That feels better. All right, and as I said, I'm going to do this for 10 seconds, just for the first press for it. So I'll set my timer. And as you may be able to see, it's counting down. And this is a cold peel, as I said, so I have to let this get cold. I'm just going to pick it up and kind of have it in the air a little bit. It's very hot. Lots of times if I'm really over by my table and not filming, I'll put it down on my tabletop that's nice and cold and just kind of let it rub there and get some of the coolness from there. I can probably reach one table here for a second to help it cool off faster. Okay, let's see, that's getting pretty cool. Let me try it. And I've heard people say you shouldn't use shirts that have already been worn and washed, but this one has been, and has the one that I use for all my samples, and it seems to work just fine. I just make sure I don't use any fabric softener in it, or a washing soap that has fabric softener already in it. Okay, I'm going to again take that and make sure it goes off the edge of my mat. And now I'm going to bring over my other texts that are going to go on top. And as I said, this is the glitter, and it's just fine to put glitter on top of flock. You don't want to put the glitter or things on top of glitter, but glitter on top of things is fine. So that looks pretty good. This time I am going to use my Teflon sheet. By the way, if you need to get a Teflon sheet or you want to get those pads that I use, I do have an affiliate link down below, and I appreciate it when you use those. I get a teeny little commission, and it just helps support the channel. So let me get this started. This should be 15 seconds. And glitter is a warm peel, so I'll be able to peel that pretty quickly. So let it cool off just a little tiny bit. Right now it's very hot. And it says it's a warm peel, so I'm letting it just cool off a little bit. Very hot. And when I'm using my big heat press like this, I don't have to do the back again if I don't want to. I can, if I want to, hit this one more time from the front. And boy, is this pretty. Oh, I love the glitter. My gosh, that's gorgeous. All right, so here's my, again, my Teflon sheet. And maybe I'll do it for another 10 seconds or something. Again, making sure this goes off the top of the foam piece. If you don't have something like that, you need to get the pads because it makes a big difference. And okay, she's done, and it is gorgeous, y'all. Can you see? Can you see that sparkle? Oh my gosh, that is pretty. Oh, I love it. All right, thank you very much for joining me. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and share them. And take a look at the links below. I appreciate it when you use my affiliate links, or think about joining us over on Patreon. Again, thanks a lot for joining me. See you guys again soon. Bye-bye.